Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Experiencer Interviews. And today we've got another amazing story coming to us from across the pond. We have Mary Kayali on board today. Mary Kayali is from Ireland and is a multiple abductee. She will be sharing many interesting personal experiences with us today. She will also talk about fluorescent markings found on her body with an ultraviolet light, scans that show where Mary's body was handled by the ETs. Mary will be discussing her meeting with implant specialist and researcher Steve Colburn, who was also patient 15 in Dr. Roger Lear's implant removal program. She will be discussing her implants being detected by Steve's instruments. She has appeared in documentaries and radio shows. She will be speaking about her several abduction-related experiences, a pyramid UFO encounter with light beings, family experiences and bloodlines, her case of missing time, the supernatural, how she was married into the elite, her UFO sighting photos/videos, and so much more. So, Mary, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for asking me. It's great to be here, get the story out.
So, you're in Sri Lanka. So, since when
In
have
Sri
you
Lanka.
been over there?
Been here third month now, 3 months, and time is running out. I'm going back to the UK in about 10 days, something like that.
I'm so sorry.
And I'm thinking of extending my visa. I'd love to do that and stay a bit longer. I'm not looking forward to coming
You
home. I
should, you
love it here.
should.
It's great. I just love it here.
So yeah, let's get into your story. So you grew up in Ireland, and what type of environment did you grow up in? Were your parents like really religious? Did like the ET thing was a thing talked about in your family?
No, not at all. Nobody ever mentioned ETs, aliens. It was mostly, it would be demons, if anything. They would talk about angels and banshees, things like that, but never ETs were ever mentioned. And I was talking about them from a very early age. And people were just looking, thinking, what the hell is she seeing? It must be ghosts or something like that. But what was from the age of 3, my mom told me that I'd wake up screaming and say there were people coming out of the wall. And I used to say people, not monsters or anything like that. So it means to me that they fairly looked maybe humanoid or human looking if I wasn't afraid, or if I wasn't calling them monsters or something like that. I was saying people are coming, people are coming, and I'd be just hysterical. And that went on for probably a couple of years or something. And then when I was 6, my mom found something on my left leg. She was washing me and there was a lump on my leg and no cut or anything like that. So she took me to get an x-ray and it was a little metal thing in my leg. They took it out and I have the scars there. But when they cut me open, they took an x-ray, cut me where it was supposed to be, and it wasn't there. It moved to about an inch and a half to the side. So then they cut me again, little slice, and took it out from there. And my mother never knew. They never told her what it was. They just said, oh, a little, maybe some debris got in there. She fell over or something. But there was no entry point. I've no other scars on that leg apart from the surgical ones. So it had to be a big wound for something that size. It was about that size, a long, like a matchstick size, and thin like a matchstick. Maybe not as long as a matchstick, but as thin and the same sort of size. There had to be some sort of little wound for that to get in. And that sort of went by and just sort of one of those things. And I was seeing the odd UFO and things would happen in the house, like lights going on and off by themselves, and radio coming on because I had a little radio. I used to have an earphone and sleep with that in bed at night, listen to music and things. And TV would come on by itself a lot of the time. And that's happened all throughout my life. And I've had different TVs, change remotes, but that's always happened. Some sort of electrical interference and phones just lighting up for no reason and the camera going on for no reason, taking pictures, just while you're not touching it, things like that. So I got used to that. So that to me is like paranormal. I never really put it down to aliens for a long time. Um, it's just it doesn't. I never saw anything spacey. Never saw any lights, big bright lights. Never saw the real big spaceships or anything like that. It was just the one or two little silver one, like a triangle silver one that followed me and my friend when I was about 8 years old. But you don't dwell on it. It was something we saw. We knew it wasn't a plane. It's very low, very silent, and followed us through a field. We were walking through a field. And I saw it coming, so I was looking behind or something playing about, and I thought it was a plane. I saw it actually coming towards us, and then it came overhead, and it was definitely a little silver triangle shaped object. That was in the 60s now, a long time ago when I was a kid. I'm old now. So nothing really. I've had sleep paralysis then, few times, a few odd occasions of that. And it's absolutely terrifying. Really is. But I've never suffered with any sleepwalking, any disorders, nothing like that. To put it down to sleep paralysis, as like the clinical way they say it. I was always sure it was something else. It wasn't sleep paralysis, but it is very similar. But you're paralyzed. And what I used to feel was I can feel something coming in my I'm asleep. I just know something's gonna happen. You can feel it. And my stomach starts going all funny. And then I feel like a force. And then suddenly you're like pinned to the bed, like you can't sit up, can't do anything. And all you can move is your eyes. And I used to see figures at the end of the bed and shadowy things, nothing clear, nothing bright lights, nothing like that. But I used to just know there was something there, someone there that wasn't human. And I often thought it was the devil. It's like they tell you in Ireland, it's something like that is the devil, it's nothing good, never aliens or anything like that until I got older. I was about 18 then when I suddenly discovered this is aliens. This is, it's not paranormal. But what are the chances of all this paranormal stuff happening, like ghosts and spirits and things coming to you and ETs? I was thinking it doesn't sound logical. Why would they be all coming around me like this? And what are the chances? So I just started to connect the two and think this is all definitely connected. But it took a long time. It took a very long time. Because I see a lot of orbs as well, and I've seen faces in orbs, like my mother's face. She died a few years ago, and it's very clear. It was the last time I was in Sri Lanka, big red orb. And so it means my mother was with me here because her face was so clear in this orb. Somebody on Twitter like did something with the filters. I just had the orb, but didn't know there was anything in it. I just had a red orb, and she used filters, and Mum's face came out so clear. So are they spirits? I don't know. I would say some orbs are spirits, but I know some of the orbs are definitely directly connected to the UFOs because they've come down in my garden when I've filmed UFOs. I've taken orbs in the house and outside in the garden, twice, two shots, one there, it's flying. I'll get one there as well as it's flying. And I know it's a lot of them are accidental with some people. They take a picture and there's an orb and they think, oh my God, but I actually visual saw quite a lot, like see them visually. And then I'll get my camera and say, there's orbs in here. I've seen a few, and I'll take a few pictures. And some I see, some I don't. But a lot of them I do see with the naked eye, which people tell me is very strange. You don't normally see them with the naked eye, but I actually do. That's how I've caught some of the good ones that I have.
They're
I
so
saw them right
fast.
there.
Really. Wait,
They
can
do fly fast. They're like an insect, the zigzag, and they do fly like that. So I think definitely some of them are connected to the UFOs. I just know they are. 'Cause I've seen them come down, like when there's a craft there, an orb will come down low, and just like they're staring or something, or what are they doing? I'm looking at it, and it's sort of I can feel I could feel there's someone there looking at me, and it feels like a living being to me. Like definitely it's some sort of being. I can feel it, but they don't say anything. I never get a message in my head, never get a voice in my head. It's just sort of feelings and like a knowing that you know something. I like an old memory that I knew before. It's like you just remembered it or something like that. So it's not like somebody telling me anything or voices or anything like that.
do you
But
recall the process where the humanoids came through the wall? Like, did you see lights or
no, nothing at all. It's just one minute they're there, and there's nothing there. And the next minute, it's just like they're like ghosts in a way, not a solid physical thing that you could grab onto. It'd be more like a shadowy, ghostly thing. So that you think if you went like that, your hand would go through it, maybe, or something like that. It didn't look like it was real. They always, anytime I had that kind of memory, that they were like ghostly kind of things that you could probably, I don't know if you could touch them or something, or if you would feel anything
Did they
if
ever
if
take you
that.
somewhere? Because sometimes we get abducted as a kid.
I don't remember being taken anywhere as a child. No, mine were when I was older, and I was much older, my 20s and 30s, but not when I was a child. I don't ever remember meeting little hybrid children, as some people say, or being taken on ships. I remember they were just coming into my room. And it's very strange because it's like you're in the middle of your worst nightmare, there's something there, and suddenly you go to sleep. It's not likely. It wouldn't really happen. And that's happened so many times. Like, hear a noise or hear something, something's there, and your adrenaline's all rushing around. You think, oh my God, what's that? And then suddenly you're asleep, and I'm thinking the next morning, well, how did I just go to sleep when I should have got up and investigated what that was? But it's like they knock you out or something and don't remember anything. So I'm just wondering, that happened quite a lot. So I don't know if anything happened. I just never had any memories come back.
So
And it was only like
I
2 or 3.
suspect that your next like episode would be at the age of 18, I think, with your boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, that was very scary. It was really scary because that was like a complete poltergeist activity to me. And that's all I knew at the time. I wasn't reading anything about aliens or anything visiting here or anything like that. I'd forgotten about the encounters and put it down to I didn't dwell on it. It wasn't in my mind, or there's aliens visiting me all the time. It wasn't like that till much later, till I realized, my God, this is true and it is really happening. Well, it took a long time, but that time, yeah, I was around at this house and I woke up. I remember I woke up to all this noise, like the wardrobe door, the closet doors were banging, banging, just opening and closing, up, closing. And he had some chrome rails in the hallway. They were literally jumping off the ground and rattling. And I remember all that noise. And he was like in the corner of the room holding his crucifix, like terrified. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it stopped. It just stopped when I woke up after about 5 seconds. It all stopped and all went quiet. So I woke up at the end of something, and he was saying it wasn't well, he wasn't actually saying anything. I was saying, what happened? What happened? And it didn't come out till maybe the next day. I said, I'm going home. I'm going home because my mother only lived down the road. And well, I only lived down the road. So I just said, I'm going home. Are you coming? Are you staying here? I'm not staying here. There's some sort of ghost or something that was really scary. It was terrifying, most terrifying experience I've ever had. Really terrifying. And he didn't want to leave. So I left. I ran home and told my mom, and she was saying, my God, what are you kids dabbling? Are you messing with the Ouija boards or doing this, that, and the other? And I'm like, no, we didn't do anything. It was just all this noise like a ghost or something, poltergeist. And the next day, I thought I'd better go around and see if he's okay with my sister. And he'd smashed all the mirrors in the house. He said that what he said was aliens took over his body, and when he looked in the mirror, he saw the alien, not himself. And we were thinking, oh my God, what are you talking about? And he said there was aliens in the room. There's aliens in the room last night. And he said I was asleep in bed and they were cutting me, they cut me open. My stomach was cut open and they were taking things out of my stomach. And I was just saying, oh my God, you've lost the plot. You've really lost the plot. And I'm going, I don't believe this. I never believed it. I didn't believe it. So I didn't have any marks, didn't remember anything like that. But years later, I'm thinking, did he really see that? See something? It's possible, considering what's happened now. And I just didn't believe him. So he actually got very mentally ill after that, but wouldn't stop talking about these aliens. And they put him in a mental hospital where he stayed for many years. I don't know if he ever came out, but as far as we know, he was kept in there for all his life. They said he was a schizophrenic then and very badly mentally disturbed. So that happened overnight because he was fine before that. No concerns regarding his mental health whatsoever. And we'd been together for about 2 years, and he just never recovered after that, never. But and then I left and I came to London and did my accountancy and all that. Stayed in London and got married very quick. Met my husband, was married within 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, but before we
So
get into that, now I think with that same boyfriend, or was it a new boyfriend that you went to you were in London, you went to like the cinema and you had like a missing time
yeah.
after that. Was it with that same
Oh, that
boyfriend?
was late. That was much later. Yeah, that was
Okay.
after I was divorced, married, everything else. It was only a casual boyfriend. Yeah, I can talk about that if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just dating this guy. He was the guitarist in the band, and we'd had about 3 or 4 dates. And this particular night, we'd been to the cinema, and I know it finished at 11:30, so I only live 5 minutes away. So I came home, and I just asked him if he wanted a glass of wine. We had a glass of wine each, and it was L-shaped sofa. He was sitting there, I was sitting here. So as I was talking and he was moving about, he knocked my hand, and the drink accidentally went all over my front. And he sort of jumped up. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I jumped up and I'm like, oh, where is it? Where is it? Nothing was wet. There was not even a drop anywhere. There was nothing on the sofa, nothing on me. I was completely dry. The glass was empty. And we were like, what the hell just happened? What just happened? Couldn't work it out. And then he said it was 4 a.m. He said, is it really 4 a.m.? I'm like, can't be. Can't be 4 a.m. It's like 12 o'clock or something. And we checked the time. It was 4 a.m. So there's a bit to that that I don't know if I've said before, but he went home anyway. And the next morning, next day, he called me, and you're not going to believe what's happened. What's happened? I said, well, what? He said, I have to come and show you. And he came. I said, come and show me. And he came up, and he had a piece missing from his leg, his thigh. His inner thigh. It was a piece of flesh, like about this size, like a good 6 inches and maybe an inch and an inch and a half thickness, like just missing off his leg. And it was all red and like bloody. It was like he'd had some sort of skin graft. And I said, I'm not, he said he woke up with this morning. He just woke up with it. And I said, I don't believe you. You must have done it something. That must be something else. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Tell the truth. He's like, I swear I'm telling you the truth. I woke up with this morning. But it wasn't like there was a dent in his leg as well, like the flesh. It was thick flesh that was missing, so there was a dent there. So I think he's left with a terrible scar. It wasn't just a top layer of skin; it was quite thick. And I was thinking to myself afterwards, what could he have done if he's lying? What could he have done to create that wound? And I just cannot think what it would be that would create a wound like that. It wasn't a stab wound, it wasn't a cut, or he did it in an accident. It was too precise, square. But I didn't see him again after that. He got too afraid and he didn't want to talk to me after that. I finally just said, I think this is too much for me. So I don't
Oh,
know what ever happens
so
to
two
the
of your
wound.
boyfriends got skin sampled by the ETs.
It seems like it, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
It's very strange.
scary.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, since you talked about your husband to be, so what
Yeah.
happened?
You mean when I was
Well,
younger, when I came
you got married fairly quickly, so that seems
got
strange.
married very quickly. We were married for 20 years. Um, his father, I knew his father worked for the government, the Syrian government, and that's all I was told. He was an ambassador in several countries, like Washington. He knew his best friend was Henry Kissinger, so he knew JFK at the time. He was quite old, and so going back to the 50s and 60s. And there are things about him. He's in United Nations as well. So there are a few things about him online, but not very much, very minimal. But the record is there that he worked for United Nations, and Kissinger was there at the time. So, it's proof that it's possible they were best friends. Not making it up. They lived in Washington. My husband's family for a few years, and then London, and they moved around. But I only found out that he was head of secret intelligence like a few years ago. We were divorced and everything by then. I found out by accident online. It was an article that I found about this woman. American woman in 1957 or something was accused of spying for Israel. And she named my father-in-law. She works at some sort of American embassy or home, some office affairs, foreign affairs or something office in Syria. And she named my father-in-law as her husband. And we did ask him, and he said, "No, I was never married. Don't, that's ridiculous. It's lies, it's lies, it's lies." So I did get to ask him that before he died. He said it was lies. But we since found out that he was head of secret intelligence and he was a multi-spy as well, for several countries. And he had that position close to the president, and God knows what they were doing, selling secrets and all sorts of things.
But how did you
But
two meet up?
we just met up very it was just very easy. There's a place in London, Piccadilly Circus, and it's got a statue of Eros there. There's some steps around there, and people used to just go by McDonald's or a drink and a coffee and just sit around there. My sister and I just gone into town. We just arrived in London not long ago, and I said, let's go to town and have a walk around, see what's new and all that. So we had a drink and sat there, and he sat next to me with his friend. So we just got talking. We met that evening, went out, and then just spent the whole next 2 weeks together. Every day we were doing stuff, going out, and had a great time. And then he just asked me to marry him, and I said, "Yeah, okay." We got married. Didn't have a wedding or anything. Just two guests at the wedding as witnesses. We got married really quick. Didn't have any honeymoon. Didn't have anything. We just got married real quick. But he was they do national service in Syria, and it's 3 years in the army when you're 18. So he didn't want to do it. So his father sneaked him out of the country on a different passport and sent him to London. He could do that, his position. So he did it with the other son as well. So they never had to do national service, but it meant he was never allowed to go back to Syria. He was in the end, years later, like now. But at the time, he couldn't. I could go to Syria and he couldn't. So I'd been a few times to see the family and he couldn't go. He would have been arrested and put in prison. You get life in prison or killed for not doing this service. They were very strict over there with the regime. It's not an Islamic state, it's a militia state. So they don't care about religion, even though they're Muslim. It's not like other Muslim countries. They don't care about religion there. It's more like militia or militia.
So you had a daughter with this man?
Yeah, she sadly died in 2012.
Oh,
You know, horrible circumstances, which I don't really want to go into, but that was my only child as well. So, it was just she was having experience as well.
yeah.
Like she saw a lot of things, and she was very gifted in a lot of things as well. She was a great artist, and she could do anything to do with art, sculpturing, making clothes, making jewelry. She's just great at doing stuff to do anything artistic. She was really good at.
So I did
So
know
that was
that you did share one of her experiences as a kid. I think she got lifted up off the bed.
oh, that was one of the experiences we had. Yeah, I was still married at the time, and we were just watching TV. My daughter went to bed. She used to go to bed at 9 o'clock without fail. She couldn't stay up late, even weekends. She didn't. She loved her sleep, and she was never afraid of the dark or anything. Never had any night light. She'd like put things by the door so the light couldn't get in. And this night we were just watching the end of a movie. It was about quarter to one, something like that. So because we were working, it was quite late. So I think it was just the end of the movie. And then Gina started screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy!" And I ran in. I said, "What's the matter?" She said the first of all, she said, "The building is falling down, the building is falling down." And I said, "No, it's not. It's okay. You must have had a bad dream." And she was saying, "No, it wasn't a dream, it wasn't a dream." She said that everything in her room was shaking. And I imagine it was like that time with me and my old boyfriend. It was very similar to that. She said everything was moving in the room and all shaking. Um, and then she said she felt herself like not on the bed, floating above the bed and spinning a bit. And she felt so sick. And that's when she started to scream, like for me. And I went in and she said she fell on the bed when I went in the room. Well, I didn't see any of that, of course, and we didn't hear anything at all, nothing whatsoever. But she said, could I sleep in your bed? And that was really unlike Gina. She loved her own space from the time she was small. She loved her own room and everything. And I said, yeah, sure. So I went in the bedroom with her into our bedroom, was lying on the bed and just, chatting and laughing and talking, trying to get her mind off it. But I still at this stage thought she'd had a nightmare. But I don't think it was now. Suddenly through the curtain, like the gap, something really bright got me in the eye, like a laser, like a pinpoint of light. Shoo, got me in this eye, and I thought, what the hell's that? I was in a building on the fourth floor. There's nothing, no lights up there, nothing above there. So I just thought it was strange. What the hell was that? Wouldn't be a plane or anything like that. And when I jumped up, looked out the window, I saw this huge, it was like just like the moon, big glowy ball thing, like a big orb, as you call it now, but I called it in those days a big glowy ball. And it was so bright, and the moon was over there, and it was just like the moon, but it was huge. It was down so low. And I ran in to tell my husband, look at this, it's UFOs. There's nothing else it could have been. I don't know what else it would have been. So I said straight away, it's a UFO. So I don't know what he said. He looked out. I cannot remember for the life of me what he said or what happened after that point. I went back to the bedroom. I remember looking at the window. Gina and myself were looking at the window. Next thing I knew, which seemed like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, seemed like 2 minutes. It was daylight. The sun was out. It was sunny, and I realized it was 6 a.m. But the thing was still there. But it turned yellow, like golden mist. And then it started to just disintegrate like smoke. Didn't fly off, no lights on it, nothing like that. It just disintegrated like smoke. And then it was gone. And I just went about my business, didn't even mention it. None of us talked about it. For about 6 weeks later, I was at work and I heard the girls talking in the kitchen, and I was in my office and they mentioned something about a UFO. And when they said UFO, I remembered it all came back, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm thinking, how could I forget that? How did I forget that? So I couldn't wait to get home and question my daughter and husband. He only remembers what I just told you, me going in and telling him it was there. He doesn't remember what happened after that. I don't remember. He doesn't remember going to bed, getting up in the morning. I don't know if my daughter went to bed. I don't know if I went to bed. I don't remember even days after that going to work or anything. It's just a blur. The whole few weeks was just a blur. I don't remember. It was only 2 years later that I remembered what happened, that I was actually on a ship that night. Definitely. It was 5 hours at 1 o'clock, and then it was six. So yes, 5 hours of missing time. And I don't know if my husband was with me and my daughter was with me, or if I was just on my own, but they didn't remember anything. I just remembered what it was, what happened.
So what did you see
And
on the craft?
sorry,
What did you see on the craft? At least
what
this,
did I say on the crowd?
yeah.
Well, all I remember was a big, like a bubble came through the ceiling, like a blue bubble, and there were faces in it. And then I don't know how I got from there to I found myself on a craft. I think it was a craft. I don't know what else it could have been. It was just all white, completely white. And I just saw little plants everywhere. There was rows and rows of little plants, like all growing. They didn't seem very old, but like seedlings or something. Loads of them going on and on and on. And I heard I felt that there were two beings behind me. I never saw any beings at this experience, never saw anything, but I felt that there were two behind me, one on the left, one on the right, and they felt big. I could feel the presence, like a very powerful presence. So I felt that they were big, like much taller than me, maybe 7 foot or something like that. And I just heard it wasn't even, I don't even know if it was a voice and all. It was sort of like a voice, not human, but not robotic either, like a double talking voice, like two voices at once, maybe, or something. And it just said, you can ask two questions. So I just said, what's with all the plants? What are you doing with all these plants? What are they for? Never, see, the thing is, I don't think that was me in my right mind because I had loads of other questions that I would have asked before that. That was minor, really. The plants, what you're doing with all these plants. I would have asked, "Who the hell are you? Where am I?" Or something like that. I think I would have asked different questions, but they just said, they're for the new planet Earth. And I just said, oh, okay. And we carried on walking and walking round. It did curve round. So that's why I think I was on a craft, but a big craft. And then I saw like a load of people, the same in rows like that as well. And they were all just standing there, dazed, nobody saying anything, nobody moving, just all standing like in rows like that. And it looked like they were looking at something. And I just realized that they must have been looking at something when I came a bit nearer and I saw something myself. I don't even know if it was a screen. It was like in the air. We have them now probably, but they were looking at some images that only they could see in each. And the one I saw was a lovely Earth, a picture of like a film of Earth, and it was beautiful, the sun, trees, beautiful sea, things like that. And suddenly it was like a black shadow just came across the screen like that, and everything turned to darkness. There was no sunlight. The ground was grey and black. It was like, and there was all this stuff coming up out of the earth, like bubbling, like oil or something. It reminded me of oil, like an oil spill or something like that. It was all coming up out of the earth and everything was dead. I saw like hooves. I remember animals' hooves sticking up, and I remember a lot of dead fish. And that's all I saw of that. And I just said, "What's happening here? What's going on? Who are all these people?" And they just said the answer was they're being categorized. I'll never forget that. They're being categorized. I mean, that's gone over my mind for years. How are they being categorized? Was it monitoring their emotions according to what they were seeing on the screens? It seemed that's the only thing I can logically come up with, that they must have been doing something like that. I mean, how else would they, and why would they be categorizing people? That's all it said. And then suddenly that's all I remember. Basically, suddenly I'm back in my room and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. But a lot more must have happened in that 5 hours that I just cannot remember.
When did you start living with your brother? Because I find that fascinating that as soon as you started being with your brother, he started having like these alien dreams.
Always had a few very odd ones. I can't remember what they were, but he comes down sometimes. I had this dream. I was on a spaceship last night. It was going all over the place. And he has seen quite a lot because every time there's a UFO outside, I'll call him if he's there, and or his friends as well. Sometimes a couple of friends. So a few of us have seen the UFOs outside. So it's not my imagination. I'll call them out. Look, there's one. There's one. But it seems every time I go outside, and it's a nice day, you don't get many in England. I'll go out and do some gardening, and I always bring my camera with me, and I'll just say, "Let's see something," or something come over. And within a few minutes, sometimes the one comes over, and they're so close. They come down very near, very low. I mean, down to like almost tree level. And if I was a better photographer, I'd get much better pictures. I'm not great. I get the camera, the setting's not right. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss it. And sometimes as well, I will look at it rather than take a picture or a video, just because when you're messing about with the camera, you actually miss the sighting. And I've missed watching it and like trying to film it. So I've done that a few times. I'll just watch it myself and not film it just to see and try to communicate with them. And I do believe they hear everything I say. They hear every thought I make. I do fully believe that. I have so many examples and proof of that now. I'd be mad not to believe it.
I find that
I'd be
fascinating that we can affect others because when I called in my second UFO over my dad's house, I had the impression to go and get my folks. So my mom saw the UFO, my dad saw the UFO.
yeah.
Sadly, my mom passed away a few months later, but my dad started having contact after that
Wow.
experience. And as soon as my current experiencer girlfriend, when she started moving in with me, her mom would sleep in her bedroom, which is in the basement. So,
Yeah,
during the summer, it's a lot warmer. So she goes downstairs, sleeps in her bedroom because it's a bit colder. And she
yeah.
started having these dream about ETs where they would touch her, and she started physically touch them during the night. And even when she
Mhm.
came over here to visit us, the experience would come over here too. So I would have these dreams about seeing like these long three-fingered hands, grayish with pointy nails. And during that
Oh,
same night, she was sleeping in our bedroom, in the master bedroom, and she said that in the morning that she woke during the night, she thought there was somebody in the bedroom, and she grabbed an arm beside her in the bed while she was sleeping in the
that's
bed.
so creepy.
So yeah, we affect others. So I suspect you affected your brother
Yeah.
too. That's
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, because a friend, I'm still friends with a person in Sri Lanka that I met here 8 years ago, and he said since I went home and ongoing, he's seeing loads of UFOs all the time. He lives more near the jungle, out the city, and there's nothing out there, no street lights or anything like that, no aircraft, nothing, so he's got quite a few photos and videos of things that I've seen. That's only since he met me as well. I've seen some from the plane coming over here, like following the plane. There were four little round sphere craft following the plane, and I caught them on video out the window. I changed flights in Dubai, and they even followed the other flight as well. And then when I got to the villa, I took a video. Look, this beautiful villa, and the moon was. They get the crescent moon that way, upside down, sort of thing. And I'm like, here's the upside down moon. Under the moon, there's a big sphere. I didn't even see it at the time. I saw it later. And then I took a photograph by accident when I turned my camera off, and it's actually moved over here. So it's not Venus or anything like that. It's actually, I've got the photo to prove it moved a second later. So it was, so it was like they knew where I was going. They knew what time my flights were. They knew where I was going to be in Sri Lanka. It's just scary. It's a bit scary in a way. And that just made me think a lot of things. I'm thinking, oh my God, they know everywhere I'm going, every move I make. And how do they know all this? And is it from, have I got implants?
Mhm.
I had a couple of odd things removed, but to the amount that they were saying I had, like 13 or 14 or something, I'm not sure I believe that. But I've had a thing removed from my jaw, and I've had very bad sinus problems. I had to have an operation, and they said there's a hole up in my cartilage up here. Like they don't know why, but it's there and it's on the X-ray and everything. And then there's my eye. I don't know if you saw the one with my eye with the things sticking out. So they're the only things. I never get sick, never get colds, never get flu, never get anything like that. But the few things that I've had were those related, where I had the thing removed from my jaw. That was awful. That was
You did
terrible.
get scanned by Steve Colbert eventually for implants.
Yeah, I did. But the equipment they're using, can we really rely on them? I started thinking afterwards, I was being used as a guinea pig, I think, and I put myself forward. I said, look, yeah, do your tests. I don't mind. Let's do some tests. And I'm willing, I'm telling the truth, so I'm willing to work with you and see what you can come up with. And Steve Colburn is a material scientist, so he must know something. He must have some education and some knowledge of this. And he said he found four different color dyes on me, like one that was really rare, which was a bit orange. He said he's never seen that one before, but it washes off after you shower after about 10 days, or one of them lasts a month. So the ones I had on were the ones that wash off after 10 days, but it looked like they were a day old sort of thing. So it looked like, or a day or two, that I'd had contact within the previous couple of days or something like that. But whether we can rely on this information or not is another story. I just went along with it, and let's see what we can find out and put it on the back burner. Don't necessarily disbelieve it, don't necessarily fully believe it, you know. And think it's like old school to me now, going back to 2013, and those, we've moved on a little bit and things have changed. So I don't even know if anyone talks about this dye anymore, or if anyone, if it is happening, or is anybody else being tested for it? Does it really exist, or was it just part of all the UFO Congress hype and things? So you just don't know, do you?
You
It's
shared
hard to believe
an
when you,
experience once where you were taken by one woman and four men. They were wearing
yeah,
like
blue.
blue type robes or
That was when I was a child, yeah, when
yeah.
I started seeing those for a while, and they were lovely. I remember I was probably still only 5, 6 at that time. I saw them a couple of times, and they had lovely long blonde hair. The men's hair was shorter, but the woman had lovely long blonde hair. And I remember they were like film stars. They reminded me of. They were just so beautiful, and it reminded me of, people you see on American movies of that time, like really glamorous, and the cinematography they use made it look really glamorous. They looked like that to me, like just lovely, very beautiful people. And I just remember them standing in front of me, and I don't know what they were saying, what they were doing, but I'd be in my bedroom, and they'd be just there talking to me or something. I don't know what they were saying, can't remember, but I saw them a couple of times. So that's why I think I wasn't scared, because they weren't scary looking. They were very beautiful and just not scary at all.
You
So I know other people have seen them and
yeah,
call them Palladians, maybe. I don't have
Canadians,
any names,
Nordics, yeah.
anybody or something. Yeah, I don't. I don't. I don't really believe there's all these different ETs coming here. I think there was, I actually don't know. It's very difficult because there's so many different stories, and are they different races coming here? It's the chances of one race coming here to me is very, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But when you think, are there more? Is the whole of space visiting Earth? Is it just, I really don't know. I think we're not meant to know. They've been very secretive with me most of my life. I couldn't get anything on film ever. I tried so many times, tried to get recordings, tried to get loads of things, but it's only the last few years, maybe since 2017, probably 2018, when I've started getting the real evidence, and they're showing me craft, all the different crafts. I've seen so many different crafts now, orbs, physical, metallic crafts that can change into orbs, and those orbs can change into black craft as well. And sometimes they change into a shadow and then they'll disappear. So I've caught that on video a few times, like shadow, black craft, and it's a shadow. I'm going click, 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 click. And this is as quick as a click, basically, that they can change like that.
There's a yeah, I didn't find too much information on this, but there's an ET race that told you that you were they were from the Galaxy Sculptor.
Sculptor. That's the only reference I've ever had that they're intergalactic travelers. I've always believed they're intergalactic travelers, not interdimensional. And I woke up several times with sculptor, sculptor, sculptor going on in my mind. I'm thinking, what is this sculptor? And looked it up, and it is actually a galaxy that does exist. And there's not much information on it, but that's I firmly believe that's where they're from. They've, when I get a bit of information like that, it's usually true. I believe it. I ask a question sometimes, and the answer is in my head when I wake up the next morning, and I think, oh my God, is this a real answer, or is it me just imagining stuff? But I don't think so. Over the years now, I've got to realize that it's not like it's like a knowing, like I knew already before, and I'm just remembering it. So it's not voices, it's not somebody telling me. It's like I'm just remembering it from before. I think, oh my God, how did I forget that? That kind of way. And like you remember a memory. It's really odd how it works, but that's what's happening.
So are you like remembering a past life, perhaps?
No, I wouldn't say it's like that. It's
No.
anything like that. I don't remember any past lives or
Okay.
anything like that. No.
You shared something really scary that's a bit like you can relate to now. Back in the 70s, you were shown like technology holograms, but you also I think the ET said to you that well, I'm not sure how, but that we wouldn't have any possessions like money or credit cards and stuff like that. So yeah, the elites are sort of pushing that idea that we won't have anything and we're going to be happy with it. So do you remember
I
that?
think they were I think that was probably talking about how we are with media now. It's everything's in the air in the cloud now. That we don't have CDs, we don't have to have all this equipment. So I think it was something more to do along those lines,
Okay.
like trying to tell me what was coming in the near future. I think that's what that was. It's
Did,
never happened before.
did you ever like do a study of your bloodlines if anything out of the ordinary happened to your family or your ancestors?
I don't know about my ancestors, but immediate family, no, they've seen like what you'd call a ghost or a strange appearance, a strange experience, but nothing to do with ETs, no UFOs, nothing like that.
Okay.
It's mostly might be a shadow or something moving by itself or creepy things like that.
Did you
Nothing
ever
to
get
do.
downloads of information? A lot of people channel.
No, yeah, no, never anything like that. No.
No. Um, but
I'm
I know.
begging for answers all my life, and
Yeah.
I get sort of a little knowing saying the answers are within you already. You know already know the answers. So I'm thinking I've been hearing that, like getting that all my life. You already know the answers.
Okay.
They're within you. So maybe they're hidden in your DNA or something.
Oh,
I believe our DNA holds memories, our ancestors' memories as well, in particular. So I think my theory is when you think about a past life, I think you're accessing your ancestors' DNA memories in your DNA as well. I think it holds a lot more than we actually know. We know it holds our own history, but I think it holds your whole ancestral history as well. And that's yet to be found, I suppose, but that's what I firmly believe.
what happened when you shared online a video of I think a poltergeist, like a shadow moving? So
Yeah,
yeah, so what happened? Did you have like contact or like stuff happening to for you to set up a camera?
yeah, well, yeah, I was having things all the time. So somebody said, put a camera in your bedroom, you'll soon see. And I did put the camera in my bedroom, and that it picked up that. Was that the one that went across that way and back really fast? Yeah, it picked up that. No idea. You can see me asleep in bed. There's nobody else in the house, nothing else. And did it the next night as well, and that was even more scary. It was like watching Paranormal Activity. Like my pillow rolled down the bed by itself, and the covers were being dragged. A mirror fell off the wall in the hallway. You could hear it smash. And I just sat up in the bed, looked around, went back to sleep. I didn't even get up. It was I just heard the crash, but it didn't seem to bother me. I just lay back down and went to sleep. But it was a very loud crash, like a mirror crashing on the floor, little mirror. And I don't know what happened to that video. I did have it on an old laptop, but I just didn't want to watch it and I didn't want to put cameras anymore. It just scared me a bit. I thought, I don't want to see, well, what if you see something really horrible you don't want to see? And it's going to affect me forever. I
Yeah.
mean, that did as well, but I'm not actually I was more afraid that it was evil demons, Catholic and all that. But when I heard it, when I felt and knew it was ETs, it eased my mind. I'm not afraid. I see them as visitors now coming here, and I love when I see a UFO or if I have an experience or anything like that. I've got so many questions, and I'd love to sit with them and chat and all the rest of it. And I've got so many questions.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be afraid at all. I don't care how they look. It wouldn't frighten me. So I think I was more afraid of the evil demons.
You keep interrupting me, Flo. Come on, let's get moving. Nobody speak to us than chopped vegetables. Joanne, you keep interrupting me, Flo. Come on, let's get moving. Nobody.
I used to get body taps at night, so I wanted to install
Oh
an
yeah,
infrared camera because my trash bin would open and close. I'd get these like a female voice speak to me at night, like
yeah,
physically. And so I wanted to install one, but I never got to it because I was afraid that I might see something
yeah. You
darker
see
than
something? Yeah, it is
freaky.
scary looking back at it. What you're gonna see, and that freaked me out when I saw that. What is that? What is it? That definitely was something there in my room, looking busy. Whatever it was doing. It was so creepy.
Did
So, but knowing that well, the way I look at it is, it's been all my life. They've never harmed me in any way, really. And I start to understand more now. So there's no fear. I used to live in fear for a long time. It was always seemed to be 3 a.m. that they came round and the creepy things happened. So I got used to staying up till 5 a.m. till it got light. Even when I was at school, could never go to sleep, during those times. And even when I started work, couldn't sleep before 3. I'd have to wait. But then I realized things started happening during the day. And then I thought, it doesn't really matter. It's just nighttime is scary because it's dark. But I just thought they're coming all times of the day, morning, noon, night. It doesn't really matter. Why have I been doing this all my life, not sleeping? It was just, well, it's because I didn't know what was happening. And it is very scary, the sleep paralysis and the unknown. And why are these strange things come into your bedroom and you don't know what they are? What wasn't sure if they were aliens or not, or if they were creepy demons. And just the thought of that still scares me. Creepy
um,
demons.
you shared online photos of your lower back? You had like a
Yeah.
9 prick needle mark type of thing happening.
Oh, that was, yeah, that was, I don't know when that happened. You know, when I did come forward and people were asking if you got any marks, and I said, well, I never look. And I started actively looking then, just checking every time I had a shower or whatever. And I'd see something weird, and that's when I'd take the photograph. That was like, it was like a nine prick needle or something, like one with nine things. Yeah. The other, actually recently, which is last year, and that was quite a long time ago, those marks. But last year, I woke up in the night and in excruciating pain, those awful pain, like in my two shoulders, just here on each side, like on a nerve. It was unbelievable. It woke me up and I felt it like five times. And then it was all right. I went back to sleep. And then I remember the next morning it had a big bruise. It wasn't even a bruise like that. It was like a sausage shape, just a bruise like that, like just like a sausage. No, nothing around it, not yellow, nothing, just black. And I had this dream that my nerves, somebody was pulling my nerves out of the bottom of my hands and cutting them, cutting little bits of my nerves, and just right in the places where these were. Sorry, I
Oh.
have to cough. Sorry about
You
that.
you shared once the term artificial scientists.
Yeah. That
So
was one of the experiences I remembered that I was shown. I had, I think, two experiences on board craft, and this is just from the second one. Um, I believe I was shown things around the ship. I remember certain parts, and this one was, all I remember was it was on there was a big table, and there was six like on this side and six on this side, and they had big crystal skulls, huge compared to their little body. The skulls were huge, but they were attached with something on each skull, and I could see through them. They were mechanical, they weren't real, they were mechanical, definitely. I could see all parts and lights and different things moving, like you're looking at the inside of a computer or something like that with lights lit up. And I just got a knowing in my head that these were scientists that created humans. They created us, and that's all I know about them. I just saw them all with the heads bent and working on something. I don't know what they were working on, but I just got the impression that these were the scientists that created humans, and that's definite for me when I get something like that, like the knowing, and it's there. It's a complete, you know, memory. I don't remember too much, but that's one of the things I do remember.
so is this
Definitely.
like event related to the pyramid UFO and light being
Yeah,
introduced?
yeah. It was the same experience, but it was a different part. But that was oh, that was very strange as well. I mean, that was the night before my sister died. She was in hospital. She had late stage cancer and she was taken into hospital. So I'd been up at the hospital, came back to my house, and my uncle was staying with me because we were at the hospital together and we were going to go back the next day. So I was just at the window smoking a cigarette, and he'd gone to bed the other room. And I saw this like a red orb, fly across the sky in front of me. I had a great view of the sky, being on the fourth floor, the whole sky. And I just thought, wow, that's cool. And I just said in my head, while you're there, can you do something for my sister? She really doesn't want to die, and can you help her in any way? And I was sort of talking like that. Next thing I knew, I was just, nothing else happened out there, but over my head, I just saw something come out, like the tip of something like come out. So I went out the window, I was looking up, and it was like the tip of a craft. And this craft was so low, it came right out over me. So I was looking up, and it was a triangle shape, but it had a bit on the end as well, like a Christmas tree, like that. And but this wasn't a smooth craft. This had loads of things going on, loads of things spinning, loads of little lights. It was like something from Independence Day. Wasn't like smooth, lovely, shiny little craft, nothing. This had loads going on. And I grabbed my phone. I'm like, oh wow. I've never seen one that low and that detail. That was the first time in my life and the only time I've never seen one with that much detail, that low. But it seemed to me like to be about 10 feet or something above the building. Not big, not high at all. It seemed so low. So I just I got my phone, it was an old phone, and filmed it. And I remember filming it. I was at the windows like this, and I was filmed it for about 4 or 5 minutes. And then I remember it came out, the garden was over there, over, outside, came over the garden, really slow like that. And then it just drifted to the left and then just went over the roofs and it was gone. But really slow, really slow. It was amazing. And I'm grinning from ear to ear, thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I just saw that. But I didn't believe that I was taking that time because it was real time. I don't remember my phone. I didn't remember, oh, I filmed it for 4 minutes. I didn't remember that. But obviously later on, my phone falling on the floor, and I did get maybe quarter of a second of two lights going like that, which wasn't what I saw, but that's all that was on my phone. But it was 2 years later that I remembered like getting sucked up into the craft through the ceiling, and it was like through the building and everything going up. And as I was going up and up, it was getting smaller and smaller like that. Like a pyramid. That's how I thought it was in a pyramid, like a twisted kind of pyramid. And when I got to the top, there was just a room up there, and it was all white again. And there was a table, like a marble table, and there were, I think, 4 or 5 beings, maybe five, I think. And I thought in my head, it's a family. This is a family for some reason. They were like parents with three younger kids. They were all various sizes, from 7 feet to like five, you know, and they were just made of golden lights. You know, the sun in the afternoon, 4 o'clock sun, that color where you can look at it. They were that color, but I didn't see any features, but they had a head and they had arm shapes and legs and bodies, like, like that. But I didn't see any eyes or anything like that. And one of them reached out, one of the little ones reached out a hand, like the hand shape came out, and I just took the hand, and then immediately I was sucked in, and I remember going round in a big swirl, like swirled around, round, round, and then it felt like I was flying in space, like a particle or something, and it was like I knew everything they knew, and I was thinking, oh my God, this is phenomenal. This is what I always wanted. I always wanted this. This is what I wanted. Wanted to know everything. And I just felt like I knew everything, everything they knew, I knew, like I was part of them. It's like we were all one together. And it was just amazing. It didn't seem like it went on too long. And then the next thing I know, I'm back down and back to Earth. And I'd forgotten most of everything except for that. Don't remember. I just remember, I don't remember them speaking to me, but I do remember the love I felt. And I knew them. I definitely knew them like all my life. Like they were old friends or family even. And I was so happy to see them. And it's like you don't see them that often. And then when you do, it's like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. And you feel like that. It was like that. It was a rare event. And I was just so happy. And when I remembered those memories back, it came back like in slices, like in pictures, one at a time, and each one was further and further and further until I remembered all of it. And it was just so emotional. I was crying, I was happy, I was sad. I didn't know what to feel because it's that never happened to me before. A lot of it felt negative because of the sleep paralysis and things like that in the past and different things. So that was like something I needed, I think, something good to just to be sure that these are the good guys and I shouldn't be afraid. And they told me not to worry about anything, everything will be okay. So since then, really, I've been fine with it and I love them coming. I'd love another meeting like that. Definitely would. And to go on little trips and stuff. I don't know why they don't take you around the universe if they're spending all that time and what's it about from childhood till your adulthood? I really want to know what's it all about. If you can't remember, what is the point? And why do they pick certain people? Why me? I've asked so many times. I'm sure anyone else that it happens to, they ask the same questions, but some people seem to get a lot of answers. I don't, and I find that strange. So it makes me not believe a lot. People are saying, making all this stuff up, and it can't be true. When you're sitting with an alien, they're telling you this. Not like they're not going to tell you the stock market's going to fail next week. I'm sure it's not going to be those kind of conversations that I want anyway. We know what's happening on Earth, and you know we don't like it, but I don't think telling you the Earth is going to blow up and there's going to be a nuclear war. That seems to be old-fashioned now. They're not telling you these things anymore because what's the point? What can you do about it? If they say to you, right, there's going to be a nuclear war next week, so what? What are you telling me for? What can I do to stop it? Nothing.
Yeah.
So why are you telling me?
Well, let's call it a day, Mary. Would you do you have like perhaps a closing statement or perhaps another story regarding your experiences that you might want to get out?
I think we covered everything. You actually did your research, which is really good, and it was nice. And you picked out all the best bits really and the main topics. But it's just to say that I think a lot of people are having experiences now, especially with the orbs as well. There's some sort of involvement there. And I think people are putting the paranormal together now with the UFO phenomena. That has to be, I think people are starting to click and think, that it is connected, and maybe they're interdimensional beings. Maybe there are several things we're experiencing. Maybe we're passing through an area of space where things are opening and we're inviting things in or something like that, as we're flying through space. We could be passing by things that suddenly we're open to, different things. I really don't know. I'd love to have some definitive answers and some definite answers for people. But unfortunately, they're not giving it to me. The things I do know, I know are definite. I know why evidence is definite. I know when they come around, it's definite. I can see it and they're here. But as for why and why they pick certain people, this is the big question for me. What are they doing? And they've helped me so much in life as well with money things. I've asked when I've been financially, in trouble. I've asked, please, I need help, please. I've no other way of getting money. I nearly lost my house once or twice, during recessions, and money would come out of nowhere, and I would get a big pile of money, like just out of nowhere. In the intricate way how it happened, I'd have to, it'd be another show, but they have helped me in things like that. So, because it's just unrealistic for the things to happen, and they would happen, and I'm thinking, oh my God, thank you so much, thank you so much. I used to say, look, I deserve it. You've been in my life all this time. You've messed me around. You've made me into a nutcase. People calling me a lunatic and names. You owe me something.
Yeah.
And so I would say that.
Oh,
you owe
thanks.
me.
Thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us. I've been following
Thanks
you
very
since
much for
2009
asking me.
at least. So
Have you really? Oh,
yeah, a
God,
long
that's
time.
nice to know. Thank you.
So
I
thanks. It's
have
been
quite a
fun.
few people that have followed me a long time. It's great. That's really good. Thanks very much for your time and everything. And it's been great talking to you.
So to those watching, hope you enjoyed today's interview. I'm your host, Mr. Great. More interviews coming up, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Great, and thanks for watching today's episode. If you are an abductee, contactee, or experiencer, and you believe that your story could help others, please feel free to contact me through my YouTube channel email. When it comes to experiencers, the ET phenomena, and the future, remember, truth will out.